That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the hardest part of the ring. Yes, indeed. So many memorable WrestleMania moments. We are making history here in Madison Square Garden, and that's what it's all about. The 2 Intercontinental Championship belts hanging from above.
Hello and welcome to episode 173 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where 4 friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. And today, as you may have already guessed, we are doing something a little bit different. Adam's gone. He's not gone permanently. That sounds quite extreme. Adam is on an extended leave, so the inmates have run in the asylum. I'm Sam, joined today by John.
Hello.
Hello. And Brett.
Hello.
And yeah, this is something that I think we've wanted to do now for a little while, but we've kind of, I don't know, we haven't really committed to ever doing it in a podcast because I feel like we perhaps don't trust our factual accuracy.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for the right wrestler to die.
Oh, John. Fair enough.
I think it's more comments like that make us weary of it, isn't it? Like how we approach.
Indeed. And so as I'm sure you can see, we have a new podcast name. Well, not a new podcast name. Again, butchering the opening here because I'm not Adam. We have a new mini-series of podcasts. And Scott Hall passing away has kind of inspired us to finally go ahead and pull the trigger with this. It's another new mini-series, Legendary. And Legendary is as close to a Hall of Fame as we are ever going to get. So I reckon Adam is absolutely jumping up and down for joy at the moment.
Yeah, I swear Adam's been pitching like the Hall of Fame idea since the very first days we started talking about doing a podcast.
He has. I was a little bit nervous actually texting him to let him know that I was pulling the trigger on this one because I thought, this is... let's not lie. Hardest Part of the Ring is a little bit of Adam's baby.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely does the most work on the pod.
Yeah, Mr. Organised.
Yeah.
And Mr. Motivator.
And he goes away for a couple of weeks, and I turn up, and I'm like, all right, guys, we're doing a new episode idea. Don't tell Adam. And I'm a little bit afraid, but he was excited on WhatsApp. We have his blessing. And so Legendary is as close to a Hall of Fame as we're going to get as we look at incredible matches that have changed the landscape of wrestling. Before we go on with that, last podcast was AEW Revolution 22.
Oh, that's good, that.
Hot minute ago now, that was. I look back on it fondly. Future matches maybe into Legendary series. But before we go on with that as well, obviously Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, has passed away, which is just tragic, really.
It was we went in for, was it like a hip operation? Just had several heart attacks or something.
So I hear that he had a fall and had several heart attacks and or he had a hip operation and then had a fall, or I'm not entirely sure of the details actually. I feel like as a podcast host, I possibly should know them, but I don't. But Brett, what is your kind of Razor Ramon is very much your era.
Old Man Jones.
Old Man Jones. Can you remember that far back, Brett? Do you remember Margaret Thatcher was still in power?
Oh God, yeah, I can. And we're still suffering her consequences. I very much do remember, and Razor Ramon was definitely one of the many big characters that made me love wrestling in the first place. I mean, he looked the coolest.
He did, yeah.
Like,
we're getting onto it in the match, but the way he enters that match, where he sort of slides under the ladder, it's just, he oozes cool. Like,
yeah, he had the build, like he was a big guy, like, you know, perfect bod. Adam would have loved his bod. Being a body guy. Just like, you know, he had the hairy chest. He was okay with that. Didn't shave it. Like, I'm all for the proud hairy chest people.
I think one of the things that I absolutely love about Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, is very much that kind of, in an era where good guys were good guys, bad guys were bad guys, he made it incredibly cool to like the heel before it was a thing. And I think that's such an incredible, I think, really a wrestler ahead of his time in so many ways.
Yeah. And being a heel and being so laid back as well. Like, you know, everything was slow and smooth with Razor. It wasn't like getting overly excited or overly aggressive or anything. It was just like, you know, because he was a big bad dude, so, you know, he didn't need to.
No. So underrated in the ring as well, I think.
Massively so.
Because he's like this big guy, and because, as we're seeing with The Undertaking, the majority of wrestlers at this time are absolutely gobshite, except for like Bret and Michaels.
This is exactly the thing, is that, like, I mean, obviously we're about to talk about one of the most influential matches in, well, wrestling history, I would say, but generally the match we're about to review kind of, it stands up by today's standards. If you saw that on an NXT or an AEW, it wouldn't look out of place, and I think that is testament to how good it is. The match in question that we are talking about is in fact WrestleMania 10, Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon for the undisputed Intercontinental Championship in what was WWF's first, kind of second, ladder match.
Ooh.
Second.
So this is the first real big ladder match. There was one on a house show between Bret and Shawn, but this was like the ladder match that kind of started it off really for them.
Do you want a brief history of ladder matches?
Please.
I'd love a history of ladder matches.
Well, it's brief. So it's believed that the sort of ladder match stipulation started in Stampede Wrestling up in Canada, which is Stu Hart's outfit.
Yeah.
And it was either created by a guy called Dan Koffat or a British wrestler named Kendo Nagasaki. There's actually
World of Sports, Kendo Nagasaki.
Yes, there is a World of Sport video on YouTube of him having a ladder match with a guy, I think called like Murray or something like that.
Murray.
Just a guy called Murray from down the street.
Maybe Mailer. But the ladder comes in right at the end of the match, and it's a proper like painters and decorators ladder, which is just spray painted gold. It's very strange.
Am I right in thinking that's the match that they're fighting for a golden record as well, not like a title belt?
Oh, maybe they are.
Weird. World of Sport is a strange place.
It really is. So Bret Hart actually wrestled in a ladder match for Stampede Wrestling in 1983 against Bad News Allen. And Bret would join WWF in 1984 and sort of brought the match with him. And as Sam was saying, the first one was first ladder match in WWF was on a show called Wrestling Challenge. There is a clip on it on Dailymotion, but it's not on the network. That was also for the Intercontinental title. That was in 1992. So the match we're talking about today is WWE's second ever ladder match and the first one ever to be on pay-per-view.
Amazing. And so going into this match, obviously the first thing that stands out is there are two Intercontinental Championships.
Yes. So what happened is Michaels was the Intercontinental Champion, but, well, story-wise, he got it stripped from him because he didn't compete enough, didn't have enough challenges for it, so they stripped him of the title. The actual story is that he supposedly tested positive for steroids, so that's to strip him of the title, but Michaels just refused. Just would not give up the title. At this point in time, Shawn Michaels is a notorious absolute dickbag. Like he's doing a lot of bad stuff to his body and being an absolute knobhead behind.
I was going to say, is this the time where like they're in cities and he's starting fights and then allowing Kevin Nash or Scott Hall to, actually finish them?
Yeah, so the clicker at this is proper like click territory, like this.
Yeah,
the time I'm talking about here. So what they stripped Michaels of the title, despite that Michaels still had the title. But so Razor won a battle royale and became the champion, but Michaels refused to accept it. a bit like the Sami Zayn thing after COVID. So they had 2 champs for a while. Michaels proclaimed he's the true champ. So that's why I set up this unification match of Michaels' claim to the throne and Razor with the actual belt.
And so we go to the match, WrestleMania 10, the grandest stage of them all. We got Jerry the King Lawler and good old Vinnie Mac on comms.
I hate it when we do stuff with Vinnie Mac on comms.
I hate it when we do stuff with Jerry the King Lawler on comms.
I can take Jerry, I think.
I used to think Vince was the voice. I didn't realise when I was first watching and he was the voice. I didn't realise he was the owner.
No.
I just thought he was the commentator, and I thought he is for me, or he was the voice of WWE commentating. Watching this again, I was just oh my god, can't stand him.
It's very difficult to like Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Did you guys? His family would attest to.
Did you guys? I don't suppose you watched the opening match of this WrestleMania, the greatest WrestleMania opening match of all time.
I didn't have time, but I was I saw what it was, and I was I don't have the time. I really want to watch this.
Another match we will probably be reviewing at some point in the future for this series.
Yeah, it's a
what was it?
Bret Hart versus Owen Hart.
Brother v brother. And so for this match, Shawn makes his entrance. He is accompanied by Big Daddy Cool, Big Sexy, Kevin Nash, Diesel. It's a lot of names.
Pod favourite? I'll be on the...
There's been a lot of Nash content recently.
Yeah, I've never really liked him as a kid, but...
No, I was never... I was a big Bret fan, and, he was feuding for the title, so I was
is this going to be a difficult episode for you?
Yeah.
Anything, Michael.
Yeah, it is. All against Bret. Damn.
Shawn does not walk under the ladder, and straight away he is exuding attitude of a heel beyond belief. Just fantastic theatrical dickheadness is what I would say.
He's so good at that, though, isn't he? He is the perfect heel. Because he's
comes
so
easy.
Yeah,
somehow.
And then, of course, counter to this, the wheels screech. We hear this really sweet tune, and the bad guy Razor makes his entrance. And what cool guy, right?
Here we go. You talk about the bad guy. Take a look at him. Here he comes now.
Florida, weighing 289 pounds, Razor Ramon.
Oh, the gold is dripping off his neck.
And there's something dripping off his hair, too.
Razor Ramon approaching the ladder. Look at this, Razor Ramon. Did you see what he just did?
Yeah, what an idiot. You think that's not bad luck? He walked right under the ladder, sealed his fate.
Just the way he walks underneath that ladder. It's a clip that you've probably seen a million times, because they always use it when they ever talk about Razor, but it's just the way he walks under it, just so cool. He just sort of shimmies under it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I can say I was always grabbing the toothpicks. Pretending. Shuffle them side to side.
Amazing. And yeah, it's an 8-foot ladder, which doesn't sound huge until, you climb up one.
Just one as well. There's just
I liked
one
that.
ladder. Yeah, me too.
Love this.
I really like that.
It nearly comes a cropper later on in the match in a really bad way. But
Yeah,
It is definitely not a wrestling standard ladder at this point in time.
No, they didn't spray it gold or anything
Nope.
in this match.
But the match starts out, and it starts out with just some straight up wrestling.
Yeah, I feel like for a long time this match was just a good wrestling match.
Indeed. We have a couple of hammerlocks, a nice choke slam, kind of slam from Razor, and a huge punch as well. That, again, we all know Shawn Michaels is the king of selling, but goddamn, he is really the best at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because he loves Flair so much, right? He takes a lot of Flair stuff.
It's so good. I don't know, he must just be secretly drinking water whenever he's off camera or something, because the amount of spit that he's able to...
He's so dehydrated by the end of the
It's like it's Gangrel in the ring. just gets punched in the mouth and it's spit every time.
I know this sounds weird to say because he's such a legend, but every time I watch a Michaels match, I'm always surprised at how good he is. Like, he is... In ring, he might be the best of all time. Like, he's brilliant.
I think I might be on board with that, to be honest. I know Bret is grimacing.
I am. And the more the thing is though, like the more of the old stuff we go back and watch, the more I do appreciate, what he brought to the table, because I just hated him when I was a kid. I just hated him, so I didn't appreciate anything he did.
For sure. But it's incredible. Like, him and Bret being in wrestling at the same time is like how we have Messi and Ronaldo now. It's just kind of insane levels of talent. And, of course...
And you fall into one or two camps.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah, you definitely do, don't you? And Bret is Messi and Ronaldo is Michaels, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I think in recent years, Messi doesn't exactly hold himself too well sometimes. But,
but Ronaldo is still Ronaldo, so...
That's true. Diesel lands a huge clothesline. Razor gets chucked out of the ring and Diesel just gets involved. Clotheslines out Scott Hall. Gets ejected from the ring. Just early doors as well, and I think
really early.
Good move.
And in his big sexy shades... Those very early 90s shades, sports shades.
Yes, the sort of slightly wraparoundy.
Early doors as well. Just say that any match that has a referee kind of exerting their power and ejecting someone is always going to be like a little bit better than a match that doesn't have it.
Yeah, I was thinking about this when I was watching this match. Is that the pinnacle of the referee's involvement in a match? Like, is that the biggest spot they'd ever do?
Their special move, isn't it?
Is the ejection. Because they always really over-exaggerate it, right? They always put everything into the whole gesticulation of it all.
Yeah, it's the kind of the swinging, the spinning of the hands, and then the kind of you're out of here. It's so beautiful.
And it's also like the only thing wrestlers listen to. Like,
I know, right?
Yeah. They never just stand there like, no, make me. No, okay, fine, I'll trudge off to the back.
It's the last mythical bastion of kayfabe is the referee's power to eject someone from the ringside.
So weird.
But Diesel is ejected early doors by good old Earl Hebner. And the fight continues out of the ring. And eventually, Razor decides to go... I want to say like ECW, but before ECW, before any of this, he pulls up the mat, exposing the concrete.
I was surprised by this at this time in WWE.
Right?
Me too. I was not expecting it.
So ahead of its time. And of course, the payoff being that they get back into the ring, they continue to fight until Shawn counters the Razor's Edge, dropping Razor over the top rope onto the exposed concrete, and that landing looks painful.
Yeah. He does some crazy
Razor rolling around on the floor holding his arm. You'd be forgiven for thinking, oh, this might be a ref throw up the X symbol moment, because man, it looks painful.
He takes a lot of punishment in this, Razor.
My main takeaway from this match was that, like, we're covering this because it's a big Razor Ramon match and everything, but like, he does, considering the outcome, he's like putting Shawn over in this match, he really massively. Is. He considering he's the big guy, and Shawn's the little guy, like the beating he takes, the selling he does for him, like, he's totally put Shawn over in this match, which just says great guy, really.
Yeah.
You can actually see both of them have a lot of time for each other. Like, you can tell this is two friends wrestling. The amount of spots they do and kind of the time they give each other to kind of sell each other's moves. Shawn continues to basically beat the crap out of Razor with the belts. With the ladder.
Yeah, when he
goes for the belts.
Is that when he just starts chucking it at him?
Yeah, he literally throws the ladder at
drops
Razor.
it on him in loads of different ways, and it's just like each one of them looked brutal. And I thought, because he's a big guy, he just thinks he'll take it, and obviously because they're friends.
Yeah,
and Shawn then proceeds to start climbing the ladder to go get the belts, and Razor Razor does what we were all thinking and just rips Shawn's pants off him, right?
Yeah. Famous butt spot.
Very, very famous butt spot.
Lasts a lot longer than I remember it lasting. Like,
so this is the thing, is that, like, obviously this is one of the most famous spots, and I remember it so vividly. Such a perfectly chiseled ass.
My God, it is an amazing ass. It really is.
Right. What I don't remember was the then perfect elbow drop.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Proceeds to do, jumping off the ladder onto Razor.
In my head, when I remember the split spot back, the pantsing happens, and then he just pulls it back up. I did not remember the elbow drop.
So good. Just on this subject as well, before this match, there was one build-up promo where an interviewer goes into Shawn Michaels' dressing room, and Shawn is just wearing a towel, and he turns at the interview, he shouts at him, he goes, get out, I'm clearly not dressed. And the interviewer leaves, and he comes back a minute later. Shawn shouts, okay, you can come in now. And the interviewer comes in, and cameraman goes in, and it's Shawn still just wearing a towel, but now with his Intercontinental Championship on.
Nice.
It's so good.
I was thinking when he was doing the elbow drop, there's probably a few people in the front row that have got an absolute eyeful there.
I mean, just thank goodness it was Shawn Michaels and not Yoko. But yeah, so Shawn continues his assault. He climbs up the ladder, Razor knocks it down, and Shawn, hanged up over the top rope, bounces straight off it. Those ropes look super bouncy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the spot where he I thought he was going to land on the ladder. Yeah. Because like the ladder leg, and after it the ref sort of tried to move it out of the way, but it got stuck because like he bounced so far off the ropes when he got hung up on them he sort of maneuvered in the air to not catch himself.
And so the two wrestlers, they collide again in the ring, and Shawn gets up first and he sets up the ladder in the corner, but Razor counters his Irish whip into his own one, throws Shawn into the ladder, and Shawn hits it so hard, he smashes into the ladder, flying over the top rope onto... Does he land on the exposed concrete? I think he does.
Oh yeah, it might be. I think that's that side, isn't it?
It is a brutal moment.
Great spot
in the match.
Yeah.
Really great selling. And the momentum shifts, and it all becomes basically Razor from here on out. He takes the ladder out of the ring, beats Shawn Michaels up with the ladder, sets it up against the ropes, and then catapults Shawn into it. And I think this speaks to Shawn Michaels selling better than anything. Is he gets catapulted into that ladder, and he could have easily just been like hit it, fall over, but you see as he lands on it, he purposely kind of rocks towards that bottom rope, kind of propelling himself backwards just so the ladder will fall on him.
Yeah, I like that. That was a nice bit.
It looks so good. And with that, Razor heads into the ring to go retrieve his titles, but Shawn, he's not done yet. Climbs up to the top rope, axe handle smashed to the back of the back. To the back of the back. That's a sentence that we're going with. Good old Macho Man style axe handle. And then both men start climbing the ladder in the classic who can get their first spot.
Well, at this point, it's not classic. At this point, it's...
Well, no.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking spot.
Groundbreaking.
And Shawn is landing those punches on Razor, and it's looking like Shawn's going to get the better of him. And then Mr. Ramon himself counters with a suplex off the top of the ladder.
And just sort of drops him as well, doesn't he? Because he doesn't like go down with him. He sort of like and then just drops him. Like,
it is a messy suplex, perfect for this match. And Shawn Michaels goes down here, and the ladder buckles.
It looks like it nearly bends in half.
That's when you have such a big guy using the ladder. Yeah, where's the reinforcement? Like,
it is incredibly.
There's a really good video WWE released a while ago, which was Shawn and Razor rewatching this match, and apparently there was no other ladder anywhere in the arena. That was the only ladder they had, and they were terrified that it'd break and it'd just be them staring up at the two titles.
They'd have to like do a spot with like Shawn on Razor's shoulders.
Yeah,
change the finish, but you know.
So Razor sets up the ladder again. It's looking a little bit ropey at this point.
Yeah, because it doesn't. It's not even, is it? It's sort of always one of the legs is definitely higher.
Do you know the best way to straighten out a twisted ladder?
No.
It is to have a 200-pound man run up against the ropes and then drop kick the ladder, as Shawn is wont to do, knocking the ladder over, knocking Razor off the ladder, and somehow fixing it, is what I would say. Or keeping it in place long enough to see out the match. The fight continues and Shawn lands pretty sick-looking Sweet Chin music. Don't know if he's calling it that at this point in time or if it's just identified as a super kick, but it's pretty good. And So Cocky decides it's time for Shawn to do Razor's own finisher, the Razor's Edge.
I love that finishing.
Well and truly beyond Shawn Michaels doing it to Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
Ambitious.
Yeah.
Plotting his downfall here as well, though, doing your, you know.
Yeah, you don't do your opponent's finisher to them. Of course, Shawn, the ever consummate professional, just turns it into a sweet-looking pile driver.
Yeah. Obviously still allowed at this point.
Devastating. Yeah. Absolutely devastating.
Did you see as well, like Razor almost puts his hands under his head as he goes down? Like, almost like protects his head because I think he's quite low in that pile driver.
It is the start of the end of the match as Razor is spiked and Shawn goes to the corner, he climbs up the ladder and he does a splash off the top rope using the ladder.
Oh, is this where he rolls off as well?
Yeah.
Loved that move. I thought, is he going to do that? That would be pretty awesome. I haven't seen someone do that, and then he did, and it was just like, it looked brutal.
It looks very painful. It looks like it's over for Razor at this point. Shawn sets up the ladder over Razor Ramon's basically unconscious body, and for everyone watching at this point in time, it's got to be finished.
Yeah, Razor looks done.
He does.
He looks just done and dusted.
Super kick, pile driver, ladder spot. This is over. But Razor, he gets up and he sees Shawn up that ladder and he runs against the ropes and he has an almighty barge on that ladder. It looks incredible. He shoulder tackles it like nothing else.
Yeah, the way Shawn falls as well, it is absolutely masterful the way he does this finish.
This is incredible. You can imagine the amount of times they must have rehearsed this and the potential just to get this wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think
Shawn...
the first part is definitely perfectly executed. Then it gets majorly telegraphed.
I think this is absolutely... what an ending this is. So Shawn is ejected from the ladder. Ejected from the ladder? Yeah. As if he's riding it like a F1 car. Yeah. He is removed forcibly from the ladder.
He falls off
and he lands on the top rope between the legs. The nut shot.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good for... very cathartic for a young fan who is so sick of Shawn Michaels. And as he falls, his leg gets trapped between the middle and top rope in that classic Big Show style tied up spot.
Yeah. I mean, you say falls, manoeuvred between. Like,
I disagree.
I watched that. He hung, like, the first part hung up on that perfectly, and then, like, it was a very slow, okay, let me get my leg in place, and then suddenly he was flailing. It was like, it went slow motion.
A Michaels hater. This, for me, this was buttery smooth.
I agree.
From ladder to rope to trapped, and as Shawn is flailing around, and not only that, he gets his leg free, only to get his arm trapped in the exact same manner. And Razor Ramon, while seeing all of this, recovers, climbs the ladder, and retrieves the title belts.
Michael! Get out of there, Shawn! He's out! He's out! He's out! No, he's out! Come on, referee!
Yes! 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 Yes!
I cannot believe it, Ramon!
Such a good match. Well, it's I watched the Bret Michaels, the first ladder match, and it really has quite a similar finish. Although Michaels loses that, but he gets the crocs on the ropes. Yeah. He doesn't get tangled up so much. But in that first match, they don't use the ladder anywhere near as much as they use it in this one. Like, they really upped it from that first one.
Really? I mean, there's a lot to love about this match. I think kind of the key thing that we touched on earlier is the fact that there was only one ladder. I think that is so good. I would love to see more modern day ladder matches with just one ladder.
They haven't really gone back to that, actually.
It's sort of the same with, like, you know, like the chair, you know, the chair matches as well. Like, suddenly there's so many that they have to make these weird contraptions with them every time, and they have to set them up, and it's like watching someone build Lego, you know,
it's
rather than wrestling.
There's something just so pure about this ladder match that works so well. An absolute masterclass from both wrestlers.
Yeah, and the way they sort of build the ladder into it, like, gradually, like, it starts out as like a proper wrestling match, and then they start introducing a ladder in smalls, and then the way the ladder's used, that escalates throughout the match. Yeah, it's just done so well.
It is absolutely incredible. And I mean, like, this coming 2 hours into a WrestleMania that has already kind of blown people's minds with Owen Bret.
Yeah. Well, that entire WrestleMania is only like 2 hours 45 minutes.
Oh, God. The dream, eh? Keep an eye out for next week's episode. Plural. Razor would go on to hold the title for the next 7 months before eventually dropping it to Diesel, and he would continue to feud with Shawn and Diesel, ultimately having another ladder match with Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 95.
Yeah, so it wasn't the same year, was it? The year after, wasn't it?
No, yeah, so he fought Diesel at SummerSlam 94, and then 95 took on Shawn.
Do you want a fun fact of that SummerSlam rematch?
Go for it.
It had 2 ladders.
Good shout.
The escalation starts here, guys. They just add more ladders every time there's a new one.
There's now, since then, there have been about 70 ladder matches in WWE, so it's quite it's not as many as I thought, to be fair.
Is that why they hang so many ladders up now? Because they're not just the ones that they use, but there's a load hung up by the entrance. So is that to make sure they've got 70? So like candles on a birthday cake.
It's exactly like candles on a birthday cake. Razor and Shawn would go on to revolutionise wrestling as integral founders as both the NWO and D-Generation X. I mean, the legacy and impact on the business cannot be understated. They are... It's Razor Ramon, it's Shawn Michaels, it's Goldust, the 3 pillars of wrestling. Just incredible stuff. And for this match in particular, I mean, we're not going to be doing scoring on this, just by virtue of it being...
You can't score this match, right?
Legendary. We can't score it.
No.
CageMatch.net scores it a 9.41 out of 10 with over 300 reviews.
Decent.
Grapple score it 4.71 out of 5 with over 200 reviews.
Oh, he's not giving that 5. Adam's not giving that 5.
Adam's not. And perhaps most impressively is this was the very first 5-star match for WWF awarded by Dave Meltzer.
Oh, great fact. Great fact. I think it was also voted Wrestling Match of the Year for Pro Wrestling Illustrated that year as well.
I think it was. I mean, there are not enough accolades to describe how perfect a ladder match this is. Like
innovative back then, obviously, massively.
Yeah. It is the benchmark for what all other ladder matches are basically measured by now. So, yeah. What a worthy first entry into basically what is the hardest part of the Ring Hall of Fame. Sorry, Adam. And we have got exactly 1 ladder into it. So there we go.
Very nice.
Hardest part of the ring, and Sami Zayn able to dodge that catastrophe.
And that's it. Next podcast, it's going to also be a future Hall of Famer.
It's only probably WrestleMania next weekend, guys.
It's only the culmination of the wrestling year.
It's 4 days away.
Is it 4 days away or 4 days long?
Well,
I need to read some recaps. I need to know what's going on.
Honestly, Brett, there is literally nothing going on.
Although that's the thing, I could read some recaps, but there's many a time where there is no build up. You know, it's like, here's just a match.
Let's focus.
We've got
on the
2
positive.
nights to fill.
Come on, Seth Rollins versus. Well, Seth Rollins doesn't have a match. Who could he possibly be fighting?
Although I don't know what happened on Raw yet. Maybe he's got a match now. I doubt
think
it.
He went and petitioned Vince McMahon, who said, "Yeah, you have a mystery opponent."
What's Cody gonna do when he's back? Like
Mid card is, I reckon.
Mid card, but like also, like, you know, so there won't really be the blood, which he did lean on heavily in.
Loves the blood, yeah.
AEW.
Big blood man.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I really hope they make him a top guy, like that sort of Roman Reigns level. I just don't think they will.
No,
I don't think they will. I think kind of by virtue of the fact they're putting him in a match with Seth Rollins kind of indicates, for lack of a better way of putting it, B+ player by WWF standards.
Oh, I don't know. Seth Rollins is a top guy.
Oh, Seth Rollins is a top wrestler, 100%. Is he in the top echelons of WWE?
I'd say he was.
No, I wouldn't.
He was.
No, I think he still is.
Is he though, or is it kind of Brock, Roman, Goldberg, and then everyone else?
Okay, Mr. Cynical Sam, maybe you're right.
Yeah. Get out of here with your optimism. Brett, if people have more optimism or cynicism to message us with, how do they get in touch?
They can send their emails to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com, or they can find us on Instagram, Twitter. We are at hardestpartpod, or they can, if they are ever so kind and nuts, they can buy us a virtual coffee at ko-fi.com/HPOTR.
Beautiful. I'm quite parched. I would quite enjoy a virtual coffee. Or a real coffee, if I'm honest. But that's cool. We're at the end of the podcast. See you later, John.
See you later, guys. See you at the weekend for WrestleMania. Well, we won't actually see you, but you know, spiritually.
Brett, top podding. See you later, mate.
See you soon.
I'll see you guys next week. It is WrestleMania season. We are on the road. That was hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.